Hello everybody, welcome back to Age of History 2. In this video, we are going to finish the Benin run with a victory. Kind of. See, for the win conditions in this run, I have to get 25% of the provinces on the planet, but I also have to defeat every other country, unless they're vassalized, but I don't really want to do that, because I really want to try another scenario inside of this game. So I'm going to do the one where I have to get 25% of the world. So here we go. The first thing I did was I gathered up some soldiers that I had in the Iberian Peninsula and moved them to the coast for easier access. For the Iberian troops, I moved most of my African troops to the Sinai Peninsula, that's the one that borders like modern-day Saudi Arabia, with my border, which is now with the Mameluke. The main thing I planned to do was break out and get most of the provinces I needed from this area. I also wanted to reduce the amount of troops that were not in active combat zones, so I removed the troops from the island of Sicily. Immediately the rebels came back, but they were quickly stomped out with some conscription. I decided I would need a lot of troops to deal with the Mamluk Empire, so I found the most amount of troops I could recruit, and it happened to be from Madagascar. I got a total of 55,000 troops, and I moved them all to the Sinai Peninsula. During all of this, my gold reserves were getting a little too big and inflation would start setting in, so I spent a lot of money making buildings in the Iberian Peninsula to kill two birds with one stone, industrializing and all of that. All of the preparation being done for the war, I declared war on the nation of Mamelukes. The vassals of Mamelukes also declared war on me, but this was to be expected, so I wasn't too worried about it. I split my army mostly in half. I put the bigger one in the north to push through what would now be like Jordan in the upper Middle East, and the smaller ones went to take the vassals, which I knew would be weaker than the more northern actual Mameluke. I checked to see how many provinces I would need to say I'd completed the victory condition. I looked, it was 745 provinces. Currently, I had 595, so I was really getting there. I was within a couple percentage points. Resistance was limited, and I was able to crush most of it. And the provinces that I came into really just fell to me really easily. But it was still slow going due to the amount of provinces that there were. I lost a ton of conquered provinces due to a country that Mamluks conquered getting its provinces back. This wouldn't have been too bad, but it did get in the way of me taking a bunch of the vassals' territories, so that was a little bit annoying. I pushed Mamelukes all the way up to the border with the Great Horde, and at this point the war was over for all intents and purposes, but I just needed to claim my provinces, I suppose. Another big army of just about 15,000 troops just sitting in the sea, so I decided to take the initiative and went out to do some naval warfare and came out on top of the situation. My main thing for doing this was that I didn't want to get surprise attacked while I was focused on the mainland troops. I lost some more provinces that same country as before due to the same reason as before, but they would clean up the Mamluks' territory in the north for me, so you're not going to hear a lot of complaints. Moving on, the rest of the clan, I took some leftover troops and asked the Great Horde for some military access, but I don't really know what happened. It just didn't register in the game. It must be a glitch that happens sometimes. I ended up just asking the Ottoman Empire and it did the same thing, so being done with that, I just went to the peace tables and claimed all the land I had conquered, bringing me much, much closer to the win condition. I spent a ton of time just assimilating provinces, but I won't make you sit through all of that because it's assimilating provinces. Nobody really wants to deal with that. The next large target, which we talked about before, was the Great Horde. My thinking is that I would be able to get all of the provinces, naively, that I would need from them, but the first thing I needed to do was get some more troops, so I went back to Madagascar. It seems to be my troop plantation. I got about 100,000 troops, so I was feeling pretty good about my odds. I spread a total army of about 150,000 across my border with the Great Horde and got ready for war. The first thing that I did was I sent an ultimatum so maybe I could avoid the war, but I got a fat no from that one, but that was kind of expected. Then I had was take all the provinces in the Caucasus, then hold the line at what is like modern-day Iran, so that I could get all of my troops there so I could push all the way across to modern-day Afghanistan. I finally pushed the Great Horde out of the Caucasus region, and I turned my attention towards Asia. To help me with this phase of the battle, I recruited some more troops from North Africa. Moving through the single provinces, I swept across the whole of the Great Horde's territory in Asia. During this, Aragon got into a war with France. I thought they could handle it since France at this point was pretty weak, but I did give them some financial support just in case, because sometimes AIs are really dumb like that. At this point, I had 695 provinces conquered, at least, so I was like 100 away, so I was feeling pretty good about it. After I conquered all of the Great Horde's Asian territories, in the south at least, they took a province in the Caucasus, but I didn't have any troops in the region, and there were a lot of Great Horde troops, so I sued for peace, and I took most of the Caucasus territories, or all that I could. After grabbing some more troops for the Great Horde War, I got a declaration of war from both Switzerland and Castile, so I took those new troops and I moved them back out to sea to help in that war. I attacked Castile from the coast since they were the weaker of the two, and they were on the coast, so it was kind of like a strategically sound move. I hit both Castile and Switzerland from the territory of Aragon and just kind of moved through that. It was easier to just use them instead of going straight up through another country. Due to my lack of troops, because of the other war that I was planning for, I went to the peace table, took as much as I could before I started losing ground both of them, because I knew I was kind of low on troops. Venice also declared war on me, but I kind of just said, hey, we'll do peace, and then they were like, sure. Switching back to the Great Horde, they were currently battling a country called Circassia. Apologies of the pronunciation as usual. So I decided now would be the best time to jump in. The tactic in the south was the same as the last time. Just push all the way to the edge of the border. I did lose a lot of troops up in the north due to the glitch, where you're kind of attacking and the other country assimilates your troops. I don't know what it's called, but it's annoying. This would really hurt me later. After a tad bit of back and forth in the south and north, I went to the negotiating table and took most of the southern territory from the Great Horde. This would put me very close to the 25%. With very few more territories needed to complete the game, it was like 10 or 15, I went to pick on smaller countries to get that done. One of the countries that I really wanted to do this to was Ethiopia, because they escaped earlier. The war was quick, they weren't really too prepared for it, and that put me within 3 provinces of getting this challenge done. I took a small country, and the bigger one that I was partners with also declared war on me, so I took them over, and that was it. So that was the end of my Benin run. Obviously I didn't hit all the victory conditions, but I really want to try a new scenario like I said last time. I've actually created a World War I Age of History map myself that I really wanted to try out on the channel, but I also want to hear from you guys if there's any situations you want to see, and specific countries. Please specify if you want me to play specific countries in a specific time period, because the fun part about this game is, I don't know, here's my thing. The late game can get kind of monotonous because it's just recruit so many troops that you never even had to think about it and conquer this little country. I love the start of the game where you're the scrappy underdog fighting to get just enough territory to survive. I love that part of it. So if you have a country that you think fits that bill and can fit that bill through at least most of the game, please suggest it down in the comments. I will be happy to look at those. But with all of that said, I wanted to thank you all so much for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.